In order to create my full fly around animation, I'm first going to create a spiral. To do so, I'm going to go to the top plane, start a sketch, go normal to it so I'm looking down at it, and zoom out. I need quite a bit of space. Otherwise, when I dimension the circle I'm about to draw, it will disappear. I'm going to get my circle tool. I'm going to start my circle at the origin. Pull this out and make a large circle. When I smart dimension my circle, I'm going to give it a 12-inch diameter. It is now fully defined. I'm ready to exit my sketch and turn my sketch into a feature. Before doing so, I'm going to go ahead and switch to my isometric view with a little bit of space so I can create my spiral. With sketch 7, or whatever the sketch is named where you created your circle, selected, drop down, and you'll notice I'm on features, drop down the curves menu, and at the bottom it says helix and spiral. To create something, you have a couple of settings to set. First one is pitch. In this case, it's asking what distance should the spiral travel up in one revolution. For mine, I'm going to go ahead and set this at 4. That doesn't mean you have to use 4, but you can. The second thing I'm going to do is set how many revolutions I want. I'm going to set this at 2. You'll also notice that the start point can be moved by clicking on it, by adjusting the angle. I'm going to put mine at 0 so that it starts near the front. I'm actually going to bump it down just a little bit. It won't let me do that. So I'm going to leave it at 0. We'll leave it at 0 so it starts. So you'll notice that it starts and ends at looking at the mug from the front view. So pitch whatever change you want to make in each revolution. 2 is a good number of revolutions for this animation. Start angle is 0. Those are my settings. After I've created this, I'm now ready to create my motion study. I'm going to right click where it says motion study and say create new motion study. So once I've created my new motion study, I'm going to set a couple settings. The first thing I'm going to do is I am going to make sure auto key is turned on. That is right here where it has the diamond and the little lightning bolt. As I move my cursor away from it, that button should stay gray. Down at the bottom here, under the part name, is orientation and camera views. When I right click on this, I want to make sure that disable view key creation is not selected. So as I right click on that, no selections are made in this box when I right click on orientation view. All of those are not showing. That's what you need to do to make sure yours will export. At this point, under lights, camera, and scene, I'm going to right click and I'm going to add a camera. I now have my project window on the left, the camera view, or what the camera is actually seeing, on the right. I'm going to zoom out. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to position the camera by the selection. You have the choice of starting your camera from the bottom and coming up, or from the top and going down. It is up to you. I do seem to get a visual glitch when I get over the spiral though, so you may or may not see that. When you go to select it, do not get on the end point. Get on just inside so that the spiral itself turns orange. What I'm going to do now is go to target by selection. This will allow me to move this red dot. The red dot is where the camera will stay pointing the entire time. I'm first going to move it from a side view or a front view-ish, about to the vertical center of the mug. I'm also going to then go to my top view and make sure that that red dot is about over the origin. That will keep it pointed at the center as it swings around and not get closer or further away. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at how far the camera is zoomed in. That's moving this square here. I'm going to zoom out a little bit by bringing the square closer. This is the camera view I want. I'm going to accept it. It's going to go back. I'm going to see it from the camera view. I'm now going to take my timeline, which is the little gray vertical line here, out to 10 seconds. Once I've done that, I need to drop down where it says Lights, Camera, and Scenes and find the camera I created. And then go to Properties. This is now allowing me to change what its position at the 10-second mark. So all I'm going to change is the position by selection. I'm going to still pick the edge, but I'm going to pick near the bottom of my spiral since I set mine to go from the top down. You'll now see that I'm looking up at the mug in my camera view. If I want to change other settings, I can. For my purpose, this is going to be just fine. When I accept it, I'm going to get a bar all the way across. I also know that this is the camera view bar because it will be green instead of blue, and it will have the stripes above and below. At this point in time, I'll be able to hit play from start and get a preview of what my animation looks like as I spin around my coffee mug and see it from all sides. At this point as well, I can also click Save Animation. My save will stay as the rendered view, and I can now call it Coffee Mug space full, because this is the full animation, not just the simple rotate animation. And I'm going to go ahead and click Save. Make sure it's on the Intel compressor. And it will sit here and it will go frame by frame and create it. And then it will make a noise when it finishes.